Hey everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. Today we're going to get into wiring on the GMC. So we're going to get this thing hooked up and get all the new wiring put in. And also I bought some new copper tubing because I don't have the fitting that goes into the block that fits this. So we're going to take this and modify it and put some adapters on it and make it work. So that way we can hook it up to our original gauge and have our oil pressure that way. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the kit we're going to be using that came with the truck when I bought it, which is pretty cool, because the reason the kid parked it was because he had an electrical issue, and he bought the wire harness to fix it, but he didn't have time to fix it, and he decided to sell the truck. For my luck, you know, I got lucky enough to where I was able to purchase it. Now I get to wire it, which is actually one of my favorite things to do, believe it or not. And I'm not joking, I'm actually serious. It's one of the things I specialized in when I worked at Current Auto Performance out in San Diego. So this is right up my alley, and I kind of enjoy it. It's kind of weird, I'm weird that way. So let's go ahead and go over what kind of kit it is. It is a painless kit, and it is for the Classic Plus customization or customizable GM pickup truck chassis harness 28 circuit, part number 10206. Can be had at Summit, Jegs, everything, I think. So I'm not sure where he bought it, but I've got it and I get to install it. Today I went into Harbor Freight to buy some like Tech Flex type of stuff. Tell you what, if you ever need any of this, they only have 1/2 inch, but it definitely will go a little bit bigger than that and definitely smaller than that. So it's well worth paying $10 for 25 feet of it. You get it, go to O'Reilly's, and the 1/2 inch is like, for 10 feet or something like that, it's like $25. So you get, 2.5 times the amount for half the price. So it's definitely the way to go, and it's pretty good quality. I mean, I bought stuff from wirecare.com that's just as good. So I'm not complaining. I think it'll work fine. And I got special the 3M cloth tape to go with it. So what we're going to do is get this thing installed. And we're going to get it installed and route the wiring where we need to. Then we'll worry about putting the loom on it. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. We're going to get this thing installed. So I'll go over some of the highlights of the kit as we go through it. You can see it actually came with the screws to mount the fuse block as well. So we're good on that. It's got a bunch of zip ties. I've actually got hangers that we might end up using instead. We'll see. But it's got under dash lighting, all your connectors and everything. And we'll go over how to do the connectors when it comes time too. But for now, we're just going to get this installed so we can start routing wires. So this came with a new firewall seal as well. So that just goes around there. It's got a sticky back, so it sticks to this when you put it in there. And I'm not sure about the holes lining up. We'll have to figure that out once we get it up in there and look. But let's do that right now. All right, let's see if these holes line up or not. So I gotta clear some stuff out of the way. It's like the 2 outside ones are the ones we need. There. So it looks like these ones right here are the ones that'll work. This one here, and this one down here. That means these screws are gonna be way too long. And we need to trim some of the padding out too, so that way it can actually seal up against the firewall. All right, so I went ahead and just screwed it in right there on the bottom, and then one up on top here. Let me see it back, right about in there. And it's fine the way it is. I kind of want to put the long screws that go here and down here, just because there's nothing holding this together other than the little plastic clips. So if I get those screws put in there, then it'll hold a lot better. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to trim anymore. I'm not going to trim any of the padding out because it fits in there just fine the way it is. And you can see that it on action. So there it is through the firewall. And I definitely want to trim these down a little bit or figure out something to cover them with or get some shorter screws. But so that's through like that. It's fine. That'll work. This is the old harness. It's going to come out still. I'm not sure what all he's got. Oh, it's the starter wire, so that'll all change. So we got all new stuff for that, which will be pretty cool. And this is the under hood harness. So that goes to the lighting, to the engine, the starter, everything. So it's a complete kit. You just got to do some ends on it, but that's pretty much normal of any aftermarket kit you buy, especially when you're increasing the circuits in it. Now you can go to M&H, is it M&H Classics, I think, which is they specialize in doing factory original style harnesses, which are just plug and play. So that's one way of doing it. But if you want to upgrade to this, then this is another way of doing it. But check out M&H if you want to keep it specific to the era. All right, so we got that fully installed now. It's a little crooked, but it looks straight on the inside. But it's sealed up, so that's all that matters. So now that can go on there. We can start routing the wires out here as well. There's a lot to worry about underneath here. Let's just go over some of the plugs that we have here. All right, so we're gonna start off with this wire right here. This goes down here to your dimmer switch. So it's gonna go right there. This wire right here is your headlight switch. So that'll be right up in here. And that'll all move up there because this all goes up into here. This one right here is your ignition switch. This group of wirings right here, this group of wiring right here is for your windshield wiper motor, which is right up in here. They're up under the dash on these trucks. That should go to, I'm not sure what that goes to yet, but I'll get back to you. It might be auxiliary stuff. That wire right there goes to your gauge wiring. So the wire that goes into here. There's your turn signal wiring, your brake wiring, your reverse lockout, your reverse light, and your neutral safety. All right, so we got the ignition wire plugged in back there on the ignition switch. We got the one of the plugs for the wiper. That plug goes into, there's another spot for power and a pump and all that stuff. I just haven't plugged it in yet. Here's the plug that goes to the knob. Now here's something interesting. If you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. On some, this is your light, so that's your wiper. On this one, wiper, this was added for the fuel selection. But now on our truck, we got lights up here and wiper over there, where in some it's wiper and lights. So just kind of neat thing that the dash is kind of the same thing for all of them. And the only thing that changes is the gauge bezel, which is, as you can see, we got our wipers over here and our lights over here, and there's nothing here. And that extra hole over there was for this, for the fuel gauge switch. One thing that they did with this kit, if you look right back here, see that right there? That is the original horn relay. And they deleted that by adding a standard relay down here on the fuse box. So it's an easily exchangeable one. You can get it at any store now instead of having to order one special just for the horn. So that's your horn relay now. And we can get rid of that one, take it out. So I went ahead and removed the dimmer switch. I know it sounds like it probably works, but it's crusty, so why take the chance of it not working? And I got one on order. Should be here this week or like next week sometime. So they're cheap. They're only like, it was like $3 or $4 or $5, something like that. But it goes right there, and luckily that part of the floor isn't rusted out. So looks like all we have to do is replace, you know, maybe some patchwork around here, but just the main floor pan and call it good. Some of the rocker maybe too. But other than that, this thing is pretty much rust free. I mean, the cab corners are good. Even the bed is good. It's crazy. Go ahead and grab the under hood harness. And I think there was a screw here that holds it in someplace. Oh, I saw it right there. I'm gonna plug it in and get the wires laid out where they need to be. So yeah, so that screws this onto the actual harness or the plug on the firewall. Once we do that, we're gonna go ahead and lay them out and maybe remove the old stuff too. All right, so the old's out. I think I definitely need a new battery tray. That's a little rusty out in the one corner. But yeah, pull the voltage regulator out too. I'm not sure what the wiring has for that yet. I want to switch to an internally regulated alternator eventually anyways, probably before I put it back on the road, so it'll make it simpler. But yeah, everything else, all the wiring's out except for the main battery cables. So it's much simpler time with the wiring back in the day. So just something for lighting, one 12-wire switch for ignition, and you're good. So we proved that in my last video, or one of my first video, where we got it running with just 12-volt switch to the coil, and that's all it takes to make an old school car start and run. So now let's get that new harness laid out. All right, so this plug is keyed, so you can't put it on wrong. I think the hardest part is getting in here and get a screwdriver on the screw to actually attach it. You put the two big wires right there next to it. All right, got her started. Let me just find the slot. Insert jokes here. The kit did come with dielectric grease, but I'm not going to put that on it until we have everything ready to go on permanently. There we go. We are plugged in. So let's unwind all these wires. See what we got. I'll bring you back when I get that all done. All right, so there's all the wires out. And it looks like they do have it separated by where they go. So these are lighting, and so they got not quite using all GM colors. So that's definitely our lighting harness right there. You can tell the light green, dark green, light blue and dark blue, those are your turn signals and your lighting. And the tans are your lighting. Purple, not sure what they're using purple for on this. I can't quite read that right now, but maybe running lights and then like high and low beams, I don't know yet. This is a little different than your standard GM harnesses, so we'll see. But yeah, let me get it laid out so we know exactly where everything goes, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we got all the wires separated. This one here is all your front lighting. This here is your alternator wiring, and this is the rest of your engine harness, engine wiring. So you have an main power, ignition, probably a choke, oil pressure, water temperature, all that good stuff. So we'll have to figure all that out once we get to it. I can't really read it that well right now because I don't have my glasses on. And one thing they did do, on original harnesses, see that little plug right there? That's your rear lighting on a factory harness. So that'll have to be removed as well because it's all integrated into this harness right here. So that, you see how long that is. That's, yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll reach the back of the truck pretty easily. So, but yeah, that's your rear harness there. And we'll definitely get to that a little bit later. We can work on the lighting up front, figure out how we want to route it to make it nice and clean. You can put the original wiring like up through there that was the ignition and everything. Maybe run it up through that little holder right there and down. But we'll figure that all out as we go. So I just remembered one of the things I dislike about painless wiring kits. If you look right here, see how you got single wires coming out? And then right here, they splice them together and they split them to have two go out. So you have one for each headlight. Well, on factory, if you look right here, they run one wire all the way from the firewall to the first plug of your headlight, and they combine it with a double style connector. And I'll show you one of those here in a second. So if you look right here, you see how wide that is? That allows for two wires to be attached to it. And that's what they have for their connectors to do the headlights. Well, here's another issue. Because it's got 4 headlights, it needs to be split like that anyways. So I'm going to, luckily I have a stash of these left over from a couple of American Auto Wire kits. So, because you gotta be able to loop it from one to the other for your high and low beam, well, for your high beam. So, but that's the one thing I don't like about it is you can do it by running a single wire all the way out to the first headlight, do a double, one of those double connectors, loop it over to the next light, and then from there you can also go, you know, across the way. So I don't know, it's just a different way of doing it. And now you got all these extra, now you got, you know, 4 extra wires out here now. And yeah, and for the purple one, you get 4 just by the purple ones. So I don't know, it's just extra wiring that doesn't need to be there. You can clean it up just by doing a single wire pass the whole way across. But they do a split way before the actual split should be. Just one of my complaints about the painless wiring kit. Still work. All right, so I got some of the wire loomed up. This will be trimmed back once I do the headlight wiring. So I got, and this whole thing, this stupid horn wire keeps getting in my way. They put super long horn wire for the horn right here. But anyways, this will all go inside the fender eventually. So there's actually like places to hook it on to with the hangers. So got that. That whole wire harness is covered. I'm not taping anything yet until I'm completely done. Then I'll pull everything out so I can get in there and really tape it good. Got the taillight section done. So that was one 25-foot roll, what you see there. So it's all the lighting is done with one of the $10 rolls from Harbor Freight. So I'll probably not have to get more. But for 10 bucks, I'll do it. Doesn't matter. So that's where we're at right now. And next thing I do is wire up the headlights. And like I said, I got to double them up because of the being, it's not a Chevy, it's a GMC. So it's got 4. But yeah, so that's going to be the next thing is wire those up. Let's see, one other thing they have for the taillight housing section, the taillight lighting section, is they have a fuel pump and fuel pump sending. It's a fuel pump power and fuel pump sending wire. So if you have an auxiliary tank with a fuel pump, you have it right there, so you can do that. But I don't have that yet, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna depin it or tuck it someplace or whatever. I'll figure something out with that wiring in case I decide to go fuel injection at some point on this. I don't know yet. All right, so I went ahead and ran the wiring through the fender to where it's supposed to be. And I did that so I could mark it on the wire loom here in order to install one of these. And that is a hanger basically for it. Okay, so the tape I'm going to be using is this cloth tape from 3M. It works really well as far as you know, it blends well with the mesh of the wire loom. So it just looks that much better. So we're going to go ahead and tape up that area for the front lighting. And then I can add the hanger and we get that part completely finished. And I can do the wiring on the truck for the headlights and everything. That's not a big deal. And I'll get into that and show you how to do that when we get to it. Okay, so I got that end taped up. I got the hanger taped up on this end. Got to figure out the hanger on this side because there's another place where it was hung right there, or the original. So that all hangs up underneath there, and then we can route everything else pretty easily after that. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how to use these double fittings to where you get two wires. And I have a special crimping tool I got from American Auto Wire that you use for it. So we're going to do that right here. Unfortunately, I got to come up with a piece of wire for this side because they didn't make it long enough to go to dual headlights. So you could go to this one, you can get to there, but there isn't enough extra to go over to here. So yeah, that's going to be fun. But I got some extra wires from my American Auto Wire kit left over that might work. So let's go ahead and get into this one here and I'll show you how we do it. I'm going to try to get this so you all see this. So the first thing you want to do is strip your wires back. So these are going to go on the connector just like that. Make sure you can see that. This is the connector. So you got these bottom tabs here wrap around the insulation, and these top tabs here wrap around the wire themselves. And I like to set it up in the tool first. And I usually do the insulation part first. You can see right there the shape of it. Sometimes you gotta give it a little form. I'm gonna pick this wire up. So now I can stick these in there. All the way up into to where the insulation is on there, and give it a good crimp. And I just closed it off. See, there you go. Now you got a perfect crimp on there. Now you just got to go in and do the wire portion of it. And you step it down to the next size down. This has 3 sizes. So you got small, medium, and large. So the next one's going to be the large one. Or I'm sorry, the medium one. Just flip it over. And then get it nice and centered on there. And crimp that part. And you have a perfectly light factory crimped connector with 2 wires going into it. And the connector you're going to use is for your headlights. And you want to, from the back side of it, your right side, so with the 3 prong like this, the right side from the back, so where the wires go into, and your third one being on top, that's where this high beam one goes. And you can see the little slot right there. That's the direction it goes in. So click into the tab, just like that. You got nice, solid connection there. Now for this wire here, we just got to do a single connector for the same thing to go to the second headlight. Because your outside light is your low and high, your inside light is only a high beam. So this is going to have on the other side of this, so on this connector here, or I'm sorry, that's going to be ground on that side. On this connector up here is going to be your actual low beam, which is your tan wire in this setup. So you're going to have a single wire going into there because you don't do a high beam or a low beam to that side. That's how you do the double connector for your headlights. And that's solid in there. You're good to go on that one. So I'm going to go through and do all of them. So I'll be back when all that's done. So now you got an idea how it works. You can see these are all the connectors that came with the kit. So these are all the headlight ones. You can see they're wider. These are your standard ones that could go for your pass through for the firewall. And that's what these ones are too. These ones connect to these ones, in a plug. So, and these are for your side marker lights. And that's what we got. I'm going to show you the crimper tool that I use for the singles. So we got to do a single on this for the low beam. Hopefully you can see that. So this is the crimper I have for that. Another Blue Point. I got this from Snap-on. You can get these on Amazon, different brands. But this basically goes up into that fitting like this. And then it'll crimp both of them at the same time. Crimp it till it ratchets, and then you're done. And there you have it. So now that goes in the top one for your low beam. There it goes. You gotta make sure you clip those in good because you don't want your lights turned off on you in the middle of the night when you're driving back. So it really sucks when they shut off. Ask me how I know. Okay, so the last thing that goes in there is a ground wire. And of course, there's only 2 of them because they didn't factor in for quad headlights on this. Well, they did. They give you extra connectors, but so this goes into the third slot. So I need one for each side. So that'll cover. I can actually use this and cover it for one side, but yeah. So the ground wire is the last one to go in. It was or the third. It goes on the third one. That clips in. We got the other one right here. So we can use this either on the driver's side or as the second one on this side. But either way, we got to make 2 more. So, yep. So this came with 4 of the 3-prong plugs. But they also make them in 2-prong. So you got your 3-prong for your low beam, high beam, and you got your 2-prong for just your high beam. So we're gonna go ahead and put the one ground in. So same thing goes for this. So we're gonna wire it exactly the way it is on here. So the ground goes on your left. Okay, so now we'll end up cutting this and adding an eyelet to it. And then we just gotta add this wire to there with a connector. And I'll be back when that's done. Okay, so we went ahead and crimped on a regular ring terminal. It's going to go right there for your ground for the lights. I'll probably clean the surface later, but for now, just going to stick it on there. You see so that's the high-low beam, and then down in there is your other high. So they're all plugged in now. Now I don't even know if the lights work. Hopefully they work, but if not, then we'll probably upgrade anyways. Probably get a set of octane lights like I got on the Firebird. But got to tighten the ground down, and this side will be done. The turn signals and side markers are a little different story. We'll get to that later. Okay, so we have the driver's side all wired up now. I don't have the high beam plugged in yet, but it's in there. And I had to do something I don't like doing because they don't give you enough wire to do double headlights. I had to use a piece of wire that I cut off this side for the low beams to make the high beam wire on this side. But at least there's wire. And they only gave you one ground, and there's a ground per bulb for the headlight. And I don't know why they gave you 2 wires for your turn signals, but whatever. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Get the headlights done. Got to wire in the running lights and turn signals. So then we'll work on the tail lights. All right, so I got all the wiring tucked in now. Start to wire in the side markers down there, the purple and the blue. The purple is your turn signals. Or no, I'm sorry. It's your running light. Got it figured out. Okay, so 2 of these wires do go to the marker, the side marker light. So apparently the side markers on these trucks actually do blink, which is why there is a turn signal wire going to that as well. So one purple, one blue goes to the side marker. One purple, one blue goes to the turn signal up front. And there is a difference, so they are marked which ones go where. On the original harness, I looked at it, and the side marker actually links back. That's what the third wire is on. So yeah, that's why there's 3 wires coming out of this one, and 2 of them are combined, is because one goes to the side marker light and one goes to the turn signal in the front. So it is the way it wires. It just say you got it wired separately rather than going in and back and over. So it's going to work just the same, just a little different way of doing it. And it does help to read the instructions sometimes. The reason I thought it was a single wire, because my Firebird, it's only a marker light. It doesn't work. So this marker light down here does not work as a turn signal. That's a completely separate circuit. So it just needs a ground to make it work. And it does take a standard 194 bulb, so same thing, but they interrupt the signal with the flasher to make it flash, so it's kind of cool. So side markers actually are turn signals as well. I didn't know that on these, but you learn something new every day. All right, got one side marker wired. And like again, I don't know if this bulb's any good. This is out of the old harness, but it just clips right in there. One turn. So that one's done. The green wire is horn, so that goes to this thing. I'm gonna wire these. I'm gonna show you how I did those connectors for the side marker, because it's a little different. So I guess gotta sort out which ones are which over here and put them together. Okay, so the first thing you do is you grab one of these connectors like this. See if I can do this with one hand or not. And you run the wire up through. It's not super easy to do with one hand, by the way. And do the same thing with the blue wire. I don't know if I'll be able to do both or not. Give me a second. Blue wire through now. Basically, you just want to figure out how long you need it to be. I like to give as pretty much as much extra as possible. That there's plenty, but I think I'll go just about an inch more than that. And I'm going to cut it off right up here. Right, so the next step is using this style of whatever, electrical connector. I can't think of what they're called right now. So you want to use that, and you want to use a rollover style crimper. If you look right here, you see the little roll right there? That's what they're talking about as far as a rollover style crimper. Now, when you strip these, you want to make sure you keep them, you want to do about a 1/4 inch, because anything more than that, and it won't catch the insulation on the second half of the crimp. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load one of these in to my crimper here. So you get it loaded in there, you come in here, you do your crimp. Stick it all the way through. I don't have a whole lot of room here, so I don't know how much you'll be able to see. Stick it in there till it stops, and then crimp it. And there you have it. So this crimper, that section is a little big, but the other one's a little too small, so just gotta come in here with a pair of needle nose and kind of pinch that a little bit more. See how it's not quite there, but it should still work, and I'll show you why when I put the second one on. So I'm gonna pinch it together just a little bit, just the installation side. Okay, now when you slide these down in, there's a little gap in the middle of this connector. So you need to slide it kind of in through the middle and down. And you want it to face, this part to face outward, so these two can make contact on the inside. So it just goes, I don't know how much of this you'll be able to see, but it goes down through the middle and pull it down. I used a pick last time to help get it in there. I need my pick. So you just try to get it down in there, and then you feed it over and into its little groove. There it goes. So now you see how that's in and over. You gotta do the same thing with the purple one, or the blue one. Make sure it's facing outward. Start it off in the middle. I'm going to use the pick to push it down in. Pull it the rest of the way, and then slide it over, again utilizing the pick. And there you have it. There you get your connection. And I know this bulb is burnt out because you can see it. See how dark it is and how metallic it looks. That means it's burnt out, but then that just pops in there, and then it goes into your side marker light, your housing. So that's how you do those. Okay, for the front turn signals section, so I showed you over here how you got a plug that goes through the core support down here, and this is what it looks like out. And it plugs into the housing over here, gets its ground from the housing. And so this is a parking light and turn signal. And you see how it's got the, one vertical, one horizontal plug. Well, they provide these here style, so you can still utilize these for this particular truck. And it's 70 to 72 that uses this style, I guess. The instructions say it on whatever it is, but you see how it'll go right on there like that. However, before I can still wire this up, this part, but I'm definitely going to order a new one of these harnesses because that's kind of broken. And I'm surprised it didn't catch fire or work at all. So maybe it didn't work. I don't know. I'm still learning the stuff that is good and bad on this thing. But basically, I got to wire these in to these wires here, and got to figure out which one's which because it doesn't matter. Because one goes running lights, one goes to turn signals, and it's a dual filament bulb that's in there. So one's going to be brighter than the other. So you want to make sure you get the right one doing what it's supposed to be doing. It uses the smaller style because you see the headlight ones are the big fat ones. So the smaller, skinnier ones are the ones that go for these. All right. So we got those all crimped on there now. Now they just need to go into these little connectors so they can plug in to this connector down here and give us parking lights and turn signals. So it's got to figure out which one goes where. Figure out, because there is a difference, like I said. One's brighter than the other, basically. And definitely going to order new harnesses for this because that's just not acceptable, in my opinion. So that's where we're at. So the entire front lighting is done. Just got to plug it in. So the lighting's all complete now. Got everything plugged in. Right now I'm working on I repaired the one turn signal up front wiring where it was broken. So I just cut and spliced it back together. That should work fine. That side was working fine. I'm going to test the lighting on the front, see what actually needs to be fixed. But we're going to work on that here in a minute. But let me get this turn signal back in. It's getting late and I'm kind of tired. So I don't know how coherent I'm going to be when I do all this, but yeah, we're getting the lighting done. Well, since we don't have a switch hooked up, don't have the running lights yet, but I can make this work here in a minute. But there's high beams and low beams work too. I had those on earlier. So let's see if we can get marker lights to work. They're hard to see, but we got the front parking lights now. And those side markers. Oh yeah, there's one. So this one must be burnt out. Okay, need another bulb. All right, so our turn signal works. You know, it's not blinking because I don't have power going to it. Just have it turned on. But the running light doesn't work, which is weird. Because this turns on everything except for that one corner lamp. See? All the running lights are on up front except for one, and it's not the bulb because I've tried it 3 different bulbs and the bulb worked with the turn signal. So that means we got a problem with that circuit, which could be anywhere. That's why I don't like it being spliced in the middle here. Look at that. Now all 4 of them are working. I got to thinking about it. I couldn't find a standard 1157 bulb for this turn signal. So what did I do? I threw in an 1157 LED one. So with the standard bulb in there, look at that, they work. So it was the LED bulb causing the problem. I forgot I had it in there. I forgot that's why I put it in there to test it. Well, got the lever for the lock, but the clip is wrong. So it was listed next to this thing, so I figured it was the right one, but it's not the right one. But that's okay, I'll figure it out later. It's not like I'm going anywhere to lock it up anyways, and now I'm bleeding. All right, tail light section run. Put a dowel clamp right there. Ran it over to its factory location right there on the pedal assembly. I don't know if you can see that or not, it's showing up. And then down, and I gotta add some hangers. You have some more dowel clamps underneath there, but overall it's run all the way to the back. Sometimes I have to do the tail light section of it. I don't know if there's a separate harness for that because it separates back there. No, that's for the gauges, so I don't know. Maybe one of those is for it. I don't know. Probably not, so I'll probably have to make my own. So there's the original harness. It plugs in the back as well to so you can remove the bed without having to worry about the wiring. So, but yeah, we got to figure something out on that. I'm not sure what I haven't read the instructions on that part yet, so we'll see what they tell us to do. All right, so I got the engine harness routed over. Enough slack in there so there's not too much tension on the wires. Up and over through the original harness, or the original, what's it called? The original routing, I guess, through the plastic piece up there. I added some fender washers to help protect it or help strengthen it, because that one was broken through, so it wasn't being held in. So I just added the fender washers to spread the load a little bit on the plastic. So I got the power wire, main power wire, going all the way through under the fender and over to where the battery is going to be, because the battery's going to go in the stock location. Probably mount the fuse right here, the MIDI fuse right there. And yeah. So that part's done. So the rest is just going to be hooking up to the engine. So we got green, which is your coolant temp. You got blue, which is your oil pressure. the small wire. The small purple wire is your tack output. So if you have a tack, there's your wire for it. Pink is your coil. There's two reds. One's for your alternator. One is for choke. And brown is also for your choke. Or I'm sorry, for your alternator. Then the thick purple one, that's your starter wire. So this is what actually starts the truck. So that's got to go all the way down to the starter. Hopefully it's long enough. God, it looks awfully short. But anyways, that's the wiring for the engine. Just got to route it and hook it up and make it look pretty. I think it looks pretty good. All wrapped like that and hidden. Okay, I got all the power run now. So this one right here, that goes to, what does that go to? That goes to the power for the fuse block. Then the wire right here, that's for the alternator, and it runs around. I'm not sure exactly how much I need yet, but I didn't want to cut it. I had some of this left over from my American Auto Wire kit from the Firebird. So it is, that's going to be run to the battery, so that's going to provide the power for all that stuff. So we should be good to go on all that. And I just got to still hook up the engine wiring, starter wire, coolant, oil pressure. Well, we're doing mechanical oil pressure on this one. So speaking of that, when I took the that routing, this plastic piece off, guess what fell out of it? The original oil adapter that goes into the block. So I thought that was pretty interesting. It looks like there's something gummed up in that. Hopefully that ain't the future of the block. But I already repaired it, and I just put a coupler in there, and I'll run all new to the fitting they already have on there, which takes one of the standard fittings rather than these female style ones or male style ones. So, yep, that's what we're gonna do. It's just gonna be a crush fitting just like this that goes on there. But yeah, so that's gonna be our oil. And so that's gonna be it for right now until I figure out what we're gonna do for wiring, routing, distributor, alternator, because I want to do it internally regulated, so I don't have to worry about using a regulator. So yeah, that's where we're at. So we discovered a little issue with the battery tray. You can see right there that it's pretty much completely rusted through. It's going to fall apart. And I really don't want to spend $60 for a new tray. So I got some of this 3/4 by 3/4 angle iron. And we're going to cut this section out and basically make a new section and just make a new box that is the same dimensions as this. So we have a nice sturdy battery box, because these outside pieces are fine. So I can weld to that and be good to go. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, so we get the main tray cut out now. So now I just gotta cut the pieces out of this, and the dimensions are 7 inches by 11 inches. So I'm gonna cut an angle at it so they can be welded together in the corners, because this side over here overhangs, the back side, the front side overhangs. So you gotta keep that in mind, and then we can weld it all to the tray thing and make it all better. All right, so I got the frame built, and I just gotta weld it to that and be good to go. And now we have a battery tray. I'll probably put maybe some straps across it too, just so in case the battery is smaller. But I'm gonna cut and bend down an area here too to hold it in, kind of like the original was. Now we got the battery tray finished, painted and installed. So the battery's in now. We got power going to everything now. All right, so we reached a pretty good point here. So you look right there, that wire right there goes your starter. I made a new battery cable, and yes, I'm running marine battery tops right now. Well, because it's easier to hook up to them like that. Plus with the extra wiring for the painless wiring, it just gives an easy way to hook it up. Still have the original like temporary ground I put on there, but I could put that on there and can actually come in here. I had to pull the horn button because as soon as I hit that positive or the negative, it I don't want to, I'm just going to crank it for a little bit because I don't want to get any oil, but look at that. We now have ignition to the key. It can't start because the fuel's disconnected and ignition isn't hooked up yet. So that's where we're at. All right, so we got a few other things that work as well. Go ahead and turn those on for us. Got lights. Headlights. See if we go to just one click if we get running lights. Oh, there's running lights. Okay, so we don't get running lights with the headlights on. Put headlights on. We get high beams, low beams. There's low beams. Got the key on. We got turn signals. There's your left, and there's your right. We just gotta get the tail lights done, but we got it run. We just gotta figure out how we're gonna wire them. Been pulling them apart, and they're pretty wrecked back here, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's where we're at. And it cranks. And we do have oil coming up out, so that's good. So when we get the gauge pod in there, it'll be all good. All right, so I just want to show that this thing will fire up. I've just got it kind of jerry-rigged right now for the ignition, but starts up, got oil pressure. I don't think the accelerator pump's working, but we can give it a little bit of throttle. Got kind of a vibration. I think the balancer might be wrong for the engine, but I don't know yet. I'll have to investigate, but I wanted to end the video and it's something good here. So she's running under keyed power. I just got, like I said, it's kind of dirty bit. But just want to show you it running again. So like I said, it's running off of keyed power now, which is cool. You know, like I said, I just got jerry-rigged until, because I am doing an HEI distributor. My buddy's gonna be sending me a couple that he has an extra, so that's pretty cool. Accelerator pump ain't working, not the way it should. It works a little bit, but yeah, it's not working great. So probably need to rebuild the carb or replace it, one of the two. The balancer, it seems a little out of balance when I rev it up a little bit. So I don't know yet on that. You know, it's all stuff that's going to come later once I get all the wiring finished and everything else done on it. But yeah, you got to hear it run again off the key. So we got to start it from the inside of the truck, which is pretty cool. Because I wasn't able to do that when I first got it because there was no wiring on the inside of the truck. So now we got wiring again, and we're at a good point where I can kind of end this video because it's getting way long and there's still a lot to do. This is going to be a continuing series of videos. All right, that's going to do it for this video on getting most of the wiring done. The only thing I got to do is the tail lights and like dash stuff too. You can see the wiring underneath there. That's for the heater and lighting and whatnot inside here. I'm waiting on a nut to mount the headlight switch, because then I can put the dash in all the way. I haven't tried the wipers. Maybe we should try those. But anyways, she starts and runs from the key now, which is pretty cool. But I'm happy about that. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like down there. Leave me a comment. Let me know what I can do better. And subscribe while you're at it. It's going to be a whole series on this truck. So this until I get it on the road. And even after I get it on the road. You know me with the Firebird. It's a never-ending project. I always find something to do and something to make it better. So that's what we're going to be doing with this one as well. I want to make it more of a daily driver too. So make sure you subscribe so you can get to see all those and turn on your notifications, all that good stuff. And so yeah, on that note, appreciate y'all watching, especially this long video. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.